Hello guys, welcome to the Automotive TV, whereby we educate, entertain, and most importantly inform people what's happening in the world. So basically in this channel we do two types of content, whereby we do a general content, and in this general content we inform people of what's happening in the world. And also in the second type of content that we do is the automotive content, whereby we explain entirely the automobile industry. So in today's video we are going to do a process, or rather we are going to explain a valuation process, how vehicles undergo valuation to know the exact values they should have at that particular point of inspection. Before we go ahead, my name is Engineer James Aiko and I do entirely run this channel. If you are new here, kindly subscribe, like, share for more videos in this channel. Thank you so much. So on to today's discussion, we are going to talk about how valuation is done. In Kenya, basically we have quite a number of valuers, whereby for example we have Regent automobile valuers, we have AA, we have links and others. So this is what the valuers do in the process of assigning values to clients. We have different types of stages. I'm going to list them and later on explain or elaborate on them. So in stage 1 we have reception, whereby we receive documents from the clients, verify to confirm that they're okay and also they own those vehicles. Where applicable, the clients do payment. Then up to stage 2. In stage 2, external and internal visual examination of the vehicle is done. And it's on the same stage whereby we make sure the alarms are fitted and all that. Moving on to stage 3. In stage 3 is whereby engine and its components inspection is done in static condition. Inspection of the engine and its components in static condition is done in stage 3. Inspection of the engine compartment and the rear boot structure, frame for severe road use, tear and wear, all accident damages. Inspection basically is done for the engine and its compartment when the engine is static. In stage 4 we do inspection of the engine in running condition, functionality of the charging system, the lighting system and all that. Visual exhaust emissions is done also, and confirmation of mileage before road test is done also under stage 4. Moving on to stage 5. In stage 5, inspection of the underbody for structural damage, rusting, corrosion of all components and assemblies under the vehicle are done in stage 5. In stage 6, inspection of tires, suspension, steering and braking system is carried out. Moving on to stage 7. In stage 7, road performance test and confirmation of mileage after road test is done in stage 7. Those are the 7 stages that the valuers undergo while doing a vehicle valuation. I'm going to explain one by one. Kindly take notes if need be. If you're okay with it, fine and well. So in basic evaluation, there is no use of spanners and all that. Basically what's done is physical valuation or physical examination. So I'm going to explain the stages, how they are done, then later on explain how computation is done. So in stage 1, the vehicle body is examined, including of course the external and internal components which are subjected to tear and wear, i.e. rear view mirrors, door ratchets and hinges, windows and window machines or glasses. We have window wipers, front and rear bumpers, headlamps, parking lights, indicators, interior trim, upholstery, seats and seat belts. All these are inspected in stage 1. So basically all the components are inspected in stage 1. In stage 2 we go to the engine and the engine compartment. Examination of the security of the bonnet hinges is done first while doing this inspection of the engine and the engine compartment. The reason is to ensure that the hinges are okay, so that the bonnet can't fall on you and all that. So examination of the engine and the engine and its components, we do examine the following: wiring harnesses, battery and the battery carrier, starter, radiator, hoses, water pumps, carburetor, air cleaner. We have high tension cables, AC, power steering components, fluids of course, and all that. All this is done in stage 2, whereby we ensure all the engine components which are within the engine compartment are checked and ascertain that they are okay. And if, for example, it's liquids or fluids, they are also ascertain that they are to the required standards and levels. All steels and flexible piping, hoses of water, oil, fuel, and brake fluids are checked for leaks. Belts are examined for proper adjustment, tear, and wear. All that is done in stage 2. As we move on to stage 3 is whereby the engine is started to confirm its operation. And unusual noises are further tested to determine the necessary repairs. The function of the cooling and all driving belts are examined for proper adjustment and tear and wear. The exhaust systems is visually checked for leaks and emissions for excessive visible smoke. The headlamp beam setting is checked, including the functionality of all gauges, electrical control switches, and lighting systems. Mileage before road test is also confirmed. So basically, in this stage is whereby we do thorough checkup after starting the engine to confirm that its mechanical conditions is in sound working condition, and also even the electrical and all that. So we move on to stage 4. In stage 4 includes checking of tires, springs, U-bolts, shock absorbers, engine and gearbox mountings, fuel tanks, fuel lines, brake lines, exhaust system, transmission, steering, etc. The chassis of the monoblock body, including the front and the rear subframes, are checked for rusting, corrosion, structural damage through accidents, or normal tear and wear. Any accident repairs are noted, are scrutinized to ensure that proper repair was done and carried out. This may warrant future body geometrical alignment tests. So there are some of the cases whereby we need to do alignment to ensure the repairs that were done, they were to the required standards. So basically, in this stage, we do check other things that are mentioned, of course, to ensure they are okay and they're working actually properly. So next, this actually the vehicle is put maybe on jack or somewhere a higher ground whereby you can be able to assess the lower part of the vehicle. That's actually from the bottom part of it. So the vehicle maybe is put on jack or maybe on other lifting mechanisms. So in stage 5, checking the excessive play on kingpin, pushes, steering lugs, linkages, ball joints is done. The brake calibers are visually examined to determine the remaining life of the brake pads as well as the brake fluids leaks. The flexible brake fluid hoses checked for fraying and edge deterioration. Also the brakes mostly, because the evaluation basically reports on the general condition of the vehicle, you have to check also on the brakes to ensure they are okay, because they are key in causing accidents. For example, if they fail, they can cause serious and even fatal accidents on roads. So still on stage 5, we do examine on the brake drums are inspected for oil leaks from the oil seal and the brake fluid leaks from the wheel cylinders. The drive shift CV joints and the coupling are checked for tear and wear, and to ensure that all oil seals and rubber boots are functional. The propeller shaft and setup bearing are checked for excessive wear of the universal joints and serve road use damages. The driving all dead axle, anchorage to the chassis and the body, independent coil springs, 4 link stabilizer, control arms, bars, and hard rubber bushing and mountings are checked for alignment or excessive wear. Tire pattern for each wheel is checked to give clues for future checks for vehicle wheel geometry. The remaining tire life on all vehicles is checked and recorded. So basically, in this stage, everything in relation to mechanical is checked to ensure they are working properly and the vehicle generally is okay. We also have stage 6. In stage 6, this is whereby a road test is done to ensure proper drivability through all driving maneuvers, to test foot brakes, steering and suspension reactions, as well as functional testing of horn, windscreen wipers and washers. Control safety systems including the rear view mirror, odometer, and the rest of the instrumental gauges are also checked. Wheel alignment is checked, and also mileage is recorded after the road test to ensure that the odometer clock is still functional and it's recording the right mileage. So basically, in stage 6, you check is also whereby you check on the suspension, brakes, whether they are okay, and all that. All that is done in stage 6. Moving on from the process and all those stages, I want to explain briefly now how they arrive on these particular values they assign vehicles, and also the factors that they consider in computing these values. So number 1 factor in considering or in computing values is actual current retail price. In short, it's called ACRP, actual current retail price. Particularly, I'm going to briefly explain this. So maybe if you are interested in this valuation process, maybe you can comment on the comment section so that I can maybe on later dates give a detailed information on this. But as of now, I'm going to briefly measure them and maybe explain a bit of it. So we have actual current retail price. In this particular factor, we consider the actual retail price of vehicles in the market. 2, we consider also ERP, estimated current retail price. The estimated one, as by the name, actually we estimate the current retail price. We also consider model change, non-production of the vehicle. We also consider extras. Extras means the things that the vehicle has been added because they actually add up to the value of the vehicle. For example, radios, TV screens, and all that. We call them extras. Maybe even actually we also include cameras. We have like eyesight cameras. There are some of the cameras that warn you when maybe you could want to do a wrong lane, or maybe you are shifting on coming vehicles and all that. All that is termed as extras. So we consider the extras that particular vehicle has before assigning the value. We also consider the year of manufacture, whereby we term it as the economic life stroke age of that vehicle. All vehicles tend to be undervalued, unlike the most current vehicles. So basically, an economic life of a vehicle is key in determining the value. So confirm the time it was manufactured and the time of inspection. By so doing, we come up with the values or the exact figure the vehicle should have. We also consider X imports. After the vehicle was imported, we also consider those values, the values it was imported with, how much was it sold, the taxes and all the duties. We also consider mileage. Actually, mileage also plays an important role because it explains the extent of usage. For example, the and where is got from the mileage. If you look at the mileage, you can be able to say that this vehicle, some parts are already worn out because it has gone maybe for a long distance and all that. We check also on the body of the vehicle. We look for, just as I've explained earlier, we look at the general condition of the food body, whereby we look at whether the vehicle has got previous accidents and all that, repairs, paint, respray and all that is under the body, the defects that the body has. We also look at the purpose of that vehicle. What does that vehicle does? There are some vehicles that are used for PSV, private and all that. So basically this is very key because vehicles that are used for, let's say, matatus, they are sometimes overused, whereby maybe they are even driven carelessly, so hence they are so fast, unlike private vehicles may be used by one or two users. So in assigning values, the PSV vehicles are considered to be to get least values, unlike private vehicles. We also check the non-Kenya specifications. We also check on the, for example, some of the European vehicles have so many security features, for example, having up to 12, even 14 airbags. So in assigning values, we also consider the non-Kenya specifications. We also consider the factor of the popularity. There are some vehicles which are unpopular. So in assigning values, you have to consider the popularity of these vehicles in the market. We also consider a factor which is called negligence. Some of these vehicles are driven recklessly, and by so doing, we have to consider this factor to ensure that these vehicles are properly handled and cared for before we assign values. Those that have been neglected tend to lower in value. We also consider public doubts, non-test. There are some vehicles that cannot be tested because of two or more factors. For example, the ignition system being faulty, or maybe other parts being faulty. You cannot test a vehicle which is under repair. So the vehicle that has not been tested, the value must be reviewed to fit that the idea that it was not tested. We also consider accident damage, whether the vehicle has been damaged before or not. So basically those are some of the factors that we consider. Maybe I can explain briefly on them. We have the ACRP, which is the actual current retail price. It changes from time to time depending on the market factors such as demand, exchange rates, competition and model change, etc. We also consider estimated current retail price, ECRP. In this one, we check on the second hand vehicles which may lie on this category, since there are so many motor dealers. So we check on these values, estimated, how they estimate these different companies, how they do estimate their values. We also check model change. Sometimes the vehicle model currently in the market will have undergone several model changes compared to with the vehicles being evaluated. The vehicle name may not have changed, but change in the model is still there. E.g., Nissan Sunny B13, when being compared to Nissan B14, all pictured 544 GR and pictured 150 SR. The important thing to remember is the feature that make it different from the other model in the market and their estimated value. It's a difference that will determine what percentage to penalize the model change for every 3 years. We have non-production. When a model is no longer in production, i.e. phased out, we penalize 10% points irrespective of when the production ceased. Non-production should not be confused with model change. Keep that in mind. extras. Extras for the purposes of valuation means those items or equipment that have been fitted on the vehicle as value added. Alternatively, the items stroke equipment may not be in the model compared with. In that case, the value of the extras must be added before the economic life is computed. Kindly note this, if the extras are newly fitted on a used vehicle, the value of the extras may be added immediately after the economic life. The other method is to estimate the economic life based on the 2.5 point addition or subtraction from the known points. For the vehicles below 5 years, we use the economic chart, which is updated manually. I will be able to show you a time the attached class. Of course, I have it. I'll be sharing it on later videos. Kindly note that newly registered vehicles, we add 5% to the economic life percentage to consider the registration number. Examples, these are 10% deducted on a motor vehicle that are imported into Kenya from overseas and the second-hand vehicles. I repeat, these are 10% deducted on motor vehicles that are imported into Kenya from overseas as second-hand vehicles. For vehicles imported from Japan and in good condition within 5 years, the penalty is 5%. If it's in a physical condition that does not warrant the premium, it's penalized 10% like any other imports. Mileage, a vehicle will clock mileage depending on the usage by the user. Depending on the usage, the mileage may be regarded as low, medium, high when compared with the industry statistics. For our purpose, we have formulated the mileage level that will be considered low, high, medium for a passenger, private vehicle, commercial vehicle, and public service vehicles, that is matatus and all that. Kindly note that it's essential to take caution in the facts of a speedo clock can fail periodically or tampered with deliberately to mislead. Low mileage recording especially must be treated with caution and preferably be supported by other substantive facts. Value is also determined by the value of the vehicle. The lower the odometer reading, the higher the value, and vice versa. So actually mileage is also a key component during vehicle valuation. Body defects, as I had explained earlier, defects will result from normal tear and wear as well as negligence and appeal. Body defects are easier to detect as they are generally visual in nature. Defects, mechanical defects, on the other hand, are the most easily detectable. They might require actual testing and observing and even measurements to detect. For the purpose of value computation, it's better to separate the penalty of body defects. The percentage of the penalty of each should be in absolute money terms, reflecting the level of defects detected on the vehicle, or the actual cost of rectifying the defects. Exaggerate defects of 10% or 5% without support by listed defects is not acceptable. It may lead to wrong values for similar vehicles. It's however necessary to take note that the facts on all vehicles have some latent defects which may not be detected from a minor road test or observation. These are estimated as possible defects since they are not actual. Company use. Of course, this was factor number 11. A company vehicle have a tendency to be being misused by staff, drivers in the course of their work. A company use a penalty of 10% is acceptable, or 5% for usage below 3 years with low mileage. And Kenya specification. Since most of the imported vehicles were not built for this market, they come with specification not suitable for this market. These specifications as items such as roll rate suspension system, engine computer management system for their home markets, less robust body structure and reinforcements. Popular vehicles, which is number 13. Some of the makes of the vehicles received are not actually accepted in the world market. These vehicles have a low resale value due to their unpopularity. They include some of the expensive models such as Volvo, Mercedes, Isuzu Troopers, and others, actually like the Mercedes and all that. Negligence. This will be actually negligence can be detected by visual examination. A neglected vehicle will be dirty, poorly repaired. If any of the repairs are done, it is with many loose items falling apart. Some of the parts, though functional, will be abused and therefore bear evidence of abuse, e.g., scratched lens, headlamps, dirty interior, etc. Public doubts. This mainly on a vehicle that has been grounded and therefore the public has a genuine doubt about its condition. Actually, that's self-explanatory. How much to penalize for public doubts will depend on the circumstances, e.g., when the vehicle was last on the road, information variable about the reason for its grounding, etc. These factors should be considered with all other visual and physical observation being taken into account. It should be loaded further down and computed order. It should be loaded further down the computation order, as it tends to be subjective and immeasurable and therefore opening to controversy. Non-test. It may not be possible to test a vehicle for many reasons. These may include defects, missing essential item, restricted space or area, etc. The penalty to be awarded for non-test should reflect the reason therefore. If the non-test is because of the missing parts and defects, it may not be possible to determine the accurately the extent of defects or other items. In such cases, a vehicle may be penalized a maximum 30% or consistent with the defects of the missing items. In case of the vehicle in a restricted area, but the vehicle is in running condition, all tests and observation should be done. The penalty should be limited only to those items that cannot be checked other than road test. All the others should come between the two extremes. Accidental damage. When the vehicle suffers an accident and is repaired in a way that it leaves behind evidence of that accident and is repaired in a way that it leaves behind the evidence of the accident, then there is an intrinsic loss of value of that vehicle. Secondly, there is a loss of value due to the need to rectify the accident damage or to restore the vehicle to its original status. The second loss is consistent with the extent of damage and the items damaged or repaired or replaced. The accident vehicle can therefore be penalized twice for the accident noticeable parts, the repairs due to restore the vehicle to its original state. Basically, those are some of the things that we consider when assigning values. Most importantly, all the 17 are key, but then we consider mostly mileage, year of manufacture, physical condition. We actually group them into three, whereby we have the electrical, we have the physical, of course, and the mechanical. So through that, we are able to come up with the value that particular vehicle should be assigned at that particular time of inspection. Kindly guys, that's all for today. For more information, kindly keep on subscribing, sharing, and keep checking on this content. I'll be sharing daily and explaining even more, because actually I didn't finish on what I had to, but I explain further this valuation process and how it should help clients to know how to make their vehicles to be in good condition, and also to increase the value of vehicles from time to time. Thank you so much. Keep subscribing, and welcome again to the Automotive TV. We educate and of course share more educative content in the future. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant endeavors wherever you are. Thank you so much.